This Liam Lawson fiasco will not go away. It runs and runs. Something will happen at Suzuka, but you know what? As much as Liam Lawson cuts a very polemic figure, I don't think empathy is his forte. I'm not sure I'm loving this chat. I'm filled with woe and dread, for he's a young driver, and why is he being treated like this? Let me explain. The whys here are obvious. Max Verstappen's worst teammate to date. If he were qualifying in 15th and let's say finishing the race in 15th, no harm, no foul, but he's finishing last. Okay, so the RB21 is twitchy, front-endy, difficult to drive therefore, but last, drop dead last. There's something going on here. That's not right. Christian Horner didn't expect that, and of course he didn't pay off Checo Perez to find himself in the very same circumstance that cost them the championship last year. They say that continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different outcomes is the definition of insanity. So therefore Red Bull need to move quickly this time now. Well, there's hows and there's whats and there's whys in this. Liam Lawson was never the god tier one. He was never going to be a Max Verstappen, nor was he ever going to be a Sir Lewis Hamilton. But yet and still, he's a half-decent driver. Beat Alex Albon in DTM, notwithstanding Alex Albon competing in one less race. Went half-decent around Super Formula, competed in earnest, notwithstanding the fact that he'd had much less experience than Tsunoda-san with Tsunoda-san. So then why are we here, chat? Well, because Red Bull, again, trigger finger as far as drivers. If past his prologue, Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Kvyat, Sebastian Buemi, need I go on? This is their forte around drivers, switching them out so long as your name isn't Checo Perez, not bringing in 20 million. However, let me say this. I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of Liam Lawson. I don't like the fella. Seen his interview with the bloody motorsport.com guys and girls, and he didn't strike me as a figure that I'd like to go for a cheeky bevy with. I think he thinks highly of himself, maybe too highly of himself, not commensurate for his not insubstantial driving talents. He's not a Max Verstappen. You see the way he talks about Yuki Tsunoda, that Tsunoda-san is last year's news, that I've already beat that dude. There is something about Liam Lawson that doesn't sit well with me. But that being said, the way that this dude is being treated in real time is an absolute disgrace. He's a young peddler, first time in F1 proper, and this is the way you treat him. What are you talking about, Cameron? Well, listen, there's always going to be speculation in Formula One, is there not? But around Liam Lawson, the one that they call Martin Brundle came out recently and said it's a bit of a disgrace the way that Red Bull are dealing with Liam Lawson and the way that Alpine are putting pressure on their young driver, Jack Doohan. Give these guys some bandwidth, if indeed bandwidth in F1 is currency. You need them to be able to spread their wings. No, in order to do that, they need space, pressure, free space. So what's all this pressure on Liam Lawson about? Therefore, well, here's what the pressure that I'm talking about is. You guys only need to check for these, right? You've seen these. So look, the rumour is that potentially trying to replace him, they are trying to replace him with one Franco Colapinto. There's a couple of names in the offing. Tsunoda-san, of course. Colapinto is another one. Another one that I've heard is Paul Aaron. I would argue that the two former are the favourites because Red Bull tried to sign Colapinto last year, but ultimately those negotiations broke down at the altar of his underperformance. What characterised Franco's final portion of the season is him yeeting it into the barrier in Brazil, and as Nero's makes no difference, all of the final bloody races. Now we get these pictures after the Chinese Grand Prix. Helmut Marko sitting and chatting with Ollie Oakes. What does it mean? Nothing burger, Cameron. Well, potentially, or potentially it is something. Why would they be sitting down negotiating, talking about Franco Colapinto potentially in the open? This is how Red Bull conduct their activities. And then your exhibit B. Now you can see in the picture there, Christian Horner talking to Fabio Briatore about what might they be talking? Okay, potentially another nothing burger. Potentially, but potentially a something burger. Christian Horner talking to Fabio Briatore potentially about signing one Franco Colapinto. We know if past his prologue before the crashes last year, Christian and Red Bull and Helmut Marko, they were interested. And then final, Exhibit C, a deleted post from Red Bull. They posted this as if Liam Lawson was no longer with us. Deleted it straight away, of course. But to make that, listen, the internet has the memory of an elephant. What are we doing here? Imagine being Liam Lawson for a second. Let me make this plea to you. Imagine being Liam Lawson for a second and seeing all this SH1T in real time. That's not fair. How's that going to unlock the performance? Now, we understand the whys. Of course, P20 is not good enough. Of course, the car is difficult and Max Verstappen drives around it, floating a twitchy rear end around the low minimum speed, medium duration corners. He has that ability. And in stark contrast, Liam Lawson is far too spiky, asking far too much of the car as he enters these physics-driven challenges, these automotive Rubik's Cubes for which all of these drivers need to solve. Yeah, the slope up which Liam Lawson needs to climb, handling that very difficult car, navigating the political circumstance that is the balls that are red. Yeah, it's difficult, but does he deserve this? I would argue not, chat. I don't think this is fair. And then you get the comments from Helmut Marko and Christian Horner saying that they're gonna need to support him. Support? Where is this support, Genie? Andre? Benzi? R.I.P. Liam? This is nonsense. You're doing everything apart from support this chap Red Bull. And I don't like me some Liam Lawson. I'm not a big fan, but we can't, honestly, at this stage, we can't tolerate this, surely. This isn't good for anybody's mental health. I feel like I'm in the pressure cooker with Liam Lawson. Not good, not fair. Doesn't deserve this. I don't think he's going to bounce back from this. The question is, what happens to Liam Lawson from now? Okay, so maybe they drop Tsunoda-san. Maybe they drop in Paul Aaron. Maybe they even drop in Franco Colapinto into the lead seat alongside Maximilian Verstappen. Maybe we will see at the at the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. But what happens to Liam? Surely they can't bin him off. Surely they can't just get rid of Liam Lawson. Not at this stage. Yeah, his underperformance has been material, but give the dude some rope, some lead time, some runway. You can't judge a driver on 2 races. There was a time when Maximilian Verstappen was yeeting it into the barrier and they were asking questions of him, but given sufficient runway and lead time, he managed to turn it around. So surely then, you owe that to Liam Lawson? No. I will put forth this to the bulls that are red. They need to stop throwing these young drivers into the fire and seeing whether they sink and swim. Saying to the press and media, talking all the right stuff, paying the support system lip service when the actual infrastructure in practice is not fit for purpose. You are not giving these young drivers all that they need as far as the car, the ability to, the time necessary to turn this chip around. You're not giving them any of that stuff, the bulls that are red. And so too, when you come out in front of the press and media, Christian Horner, and are asked, are you going to give Liam Lawson the time he needs to turn around this ship? The exam answer, sir, is yes. After the Chinese Grand Prix, Christian Horner did everything but say he was going to give the one that they call Liam Lawson the time. Everything. Well, this is performance driven. Well, F1 is a short-term sport. Well, F1 is all about what have you done for me lately? Well, we're going to go away and look at some numbers. What? Just say, yeah, give this dude the confidence he needs, chap. What are we doing? Helmut Marko asked about Liam Lawson's statement when he said, you know what, I just need a bit more time, but I don't have time. I need to pull out the performance of myself forthwith, now, full stop, new paragraph. When asked about that, Helmut Marko said, Liam Lawson is right. How is this edifying, chap? How is this going to help? I feel like they are denaturing the enzyme, the catalyst needed to turn this underperformance enzyme into performance. And that, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, is not good enough. Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, the bulls that are red, your move, sirs.